The city streets glimmered under the pale light of flickering street lamps. Officer Nathan Parker had spent countless nights patrolling these roads, each shift blending into the next. Tonight, however, felt different. Turning onto Brookside Avenue, his sharp eyes caught a shadowy figure standing near Jerry's diner. It was a child, no more than 6 or 7, hunched over, her oversized coat nearly swallowing her small frame. Something about her posture, the way she hugged a backpack to her chest and peeked through the diner's window, tugged at Nathan's gut. Kids shouldn't be out here alone at this hour, he muttered to himself, pulling his patrol car over to the curb. Exiting the vehicle, he approached cautiously. Years on the force had taught him the importance of reading people. And even from a distance, he could tell this child was on edge. Her movements were jittery, her gaze darting between the brightly lit interior of the diner and the empty streets. "Hey there, kiddo," Nathan called out, keeping his voice calm and soft as he stepped closer. Startled, the girl whipped her head around, her wide eyes locking onto him. For a split second, she froze, then turned and bolted down the sidewalk. Nathan's instincts kicked in immediately. "Wait, I just want to talk," he called, quickening his pace to follow her. The girl was small but surprisingly quick, weaving through the narrow alleys with practiced ease. Nathan kept his distance, not wanting to frighten her further. She finally stopped near a stack of crates. Crouching low and clutching her backpack tightly, Nathan slowed his steps, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm not here to hurt you. My name's Nathan, and I'm a police officer. I just want to make sure you're safe." The girl's gaze flicked to him, suspicious and wary. Her breathing was heavy, her small chest rising and falling rapidly. "What's your name?" Nathan asked softly, kneeling down to her level. She hesitated, then whispered, "Amara." Nathan offered a reassuring smile. "That's a beautiful name, Amara. Are you out here alone?" Amara didn't answer immediately. Instead, she unzipped her backpack cautiously. Nathan's breath caught as she revealed the tiny, sleeping form of a baby swaddled in a worn blanket. "This is Eli," Amara said quietly, her voice trembling. "He's my brother." Nathan's heart wrenched at the sight. The baby couldn't have been more than a few months old. His pale skin and fragile appearance a stark reminder of how vulnerable he was. "How long have you been out here?" Nathan asked, his voice thick with emotion. "Since yesterday," Amara replied, stroking Eli's tiny head protectively. "Mom said she'd be back soon. But she didn't come. I didn't know where else to go." Nathan swallowed hard, fighting the wave of emotions threatening to overwhelm him. This wasn't just a lost child. This was survival in its rawest, most heartbreaking form. "You've done so well taking care of Eli," Nathan said gently, "but you don't have to do this alone anymore. Let me help you." Amara looked at him uncertainly, her wide eyes searching his face for sincerity. Finally, she nodded. The warm air of the police station was a stark contrast to the cold night outside. Nathan guided Amara to his desk, settling her into a chair and draping his jacket over her small shoulders. Eli lay asleep in a borrowed baby carrier nearby, his soft breath steady. Amara's hands wrapped around a cup of hot chocolate Nathan had brought her, her small fingers barely peeking out from the sleeves of the oversized coat. She sipped it cautiously, her gaze flickering to Eli every few seconds. "Amara," Nathan began gently, sitting across from her, "do you know where your mom might have gone?" "She said she was going to find food," Amara whispered. "She told me to stay hidden and not to talk to anyone." Nathan's jaw tightened. Her words painted a picture of a life filled with fear and uncertainty. "Where do you live?" he asked carefully. Amara recited an address, and Nathan immediately looked it up in the police database. The search results made his stomach drop, multiple reports of domestic disturbances and child welfare checks tied to the address. The picture of their life became painfully clear, a household fractured by violence and neglect. "I'll find her, Amara," Nathan promised, "and until I do, I'll make sure you and Eli are safe." The next day, Nathan began a painstaking search for Amara's mother. He called local hospitals, shelters, and even combed through recent incident reports. Hours later, his persistence paid off. A woman matching Amara's description of her mother had been admitted to Fairview General after a hit-and-run accident. She was in critical condition and unconscious. Nathan felt a mixture of relief and dread. Relief that she was alive, but dread at the thought of what this would mean for Amara and Eli. He decided not to share the full details with Amara just yet. Instead, he focused on building trust with her, visiting the siblings daily at the temporary foster home. Weeks passed before Amara's mother, Serena, opened her eyes. Nathan was there, seated at her bedside, his hands resting on his knees as he leaned forward. Amara, Serena croaked, her voice weak but filled with urgency. They're safe, Nathan assured her. Amara and Eli are safe. They've been waiting for you. Tears filled Serena's eyes as Nathan described her daughter's bravery and the lengths she had gone to protect her brother. The next day, Nathan brought the children to the hospital. The reunion was nothing short of miraculous. Amara ran into her mother's arms, sobbing with relief, while Serena held both children close, whispering promises of never leaving him again. With Nathan's help, Serena found a small apartment and began rebuilding her life. Nathan remained a constant presence, visiting often and helping with groceries, paperwork, and childcare. Amara had grown attached to him, calling him Uncle Nate, a title that warmed his heart every time he heard it. One evening, as they sat together in their cozy living room, Serena turned to Nathan. "You've done so much for us," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "You've become part of our family." Nathan smiled, his throat tight. "You've done more for me than you realize. You've reminded me why I became a cop in the first place." Months later, Nathan stood in a park, watching Amara chase Eli across the grass. Serena sat beside him, her eyes sparkling with joy as she watched her children play. Nathan felt a deep sense of peace. The family he had stumbled upon that cold night had become a part of his own life, filling a void he hadn't known existed. "Thank you, Nathan," Serena said softly, "for everything." Nathan shook his head, his voice quiet but firm. "No, thank you, for showing me that even in the darkest moments, there's always light." As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Nathan knew he had found not just a purpose but a family.